Or shot fire, officer down, shot fire, officer down. Got a city officer down, shot fire.
223, be advised, we have a visual on enemy paratroopers in grid Papa uniforms.
Welcome to the Resilient Warrior Nation, a podcast dedicated to inspiring hope and healing for first responders, military veterans, and anyone facing PTSD and trauma. Hey guys, welcome to another podcast episode of the Resilient Warrior Nation. My name is Mike Morgan. I'm your host, and I'm very excited about today's guest. Prior to that, though, let me just explain why I'm wearing this shirt. It is not a proclamation. Unafraid is the name of a company owned by a man named Eddie Penny. Eddie's a former Navy SEAL, Team 6 guy. And as I sat down to watch a podcast episode of the Shawn Ryan Show in the spring of 2023, I had no idea that Eddie was about to change the trajectory of my life. I'm a 30-year medically retired police officer. And as I sat down, let me first say that after retirement in fall of 22, started experiencing some depression, rage, anger issues, just general unhappiness. And I really was not sure of the origination. I'm pretty self-aware, but I really just could not pinpoint it. And as I watched this episode, as I will explain, it came into focus rather quickly what was going on. So during the course of the episode, Eddie was recounting the story of the Extortion 17 incident in which Chinook was shot down in Afghanistan by insurgents, killing all 38 aboard. This included 17 SEALs. It was the largest loss of community in one event ever. Included in the dead was Jason Workman, Eddie's best friend. And as Eddie told the story, I simultaneously began thinking about a call that I had buried 5 years before involving a beautiful little 2-year-old girl that was found floating in a pool, a girl named Dana Sikorsky. As Eddie was telling his story, he began crying. He was upset, and rightly so. I now know that subconsciously I was given permission to cry from this warrior, and I lost it. No other better way to say it. I began weeping like a baby. I had no idea what was going on, literally saying to myself, what the fuck is happening right now? But I quickly put two and two together and realized that I had suffered some sort of PTSD in my career. I don't like using a D because it's not a disorder. It's your body's normal reaction to the absolutely abnormal stimuli that you see for a super length of time, but everyone identifies with it as PTSD, so I will use that term. I quickly realized I didn't want to be this ornery guy that hated everyone and everything, as I've seen so often. Knew I needed help, just wasn't sure how I was going to go about it. I didn't think that I would be able to speak to a man or woman sitting behind a desk, telling them things I've done, the things I've seen, and they'd be able to help me. So I really started listening to mostly special force operators at this time, on Shawn's and other podcasts, speaking about coming home from war, self-professed broken men, and then the consequent healing journeys using psychedelics. At first, I kind of dismissed it, but I really started paying attention, doing research, and decided that ayahuasca was calling me. My wife and I went to a facility called Soul Quest Ayahuasca Church in Orlando, Florida, shortly after moving to Florida in March 1st of 2024. And during the course of that weekend, I literally changed my life. For all intents and purposes. We went through 3 ceremonies that weekend, but for all intents and purposes, after the first 4 hours of that first journey, I was reborn in a non-religious sense. So one thing I was told by the universe during that journey was that I was healed from my PTSD. And again, this is not linear. I did not just heal and I'm the superior human being. I could go through stuff every day like everyone else, but my PTSD was mostly healed. And I had lost 2 coworkers and friends from my Suffolk County police job that I just retired from to suicide 3 weeks before, a week apart. The sergeant had killed himself in the precinct locker room. And the universe told me that my life's pursuit was now to go forth, help other first responders and vets heal their PTSD and trauma issues. Literally said okay out loud, had no idea how I was going to implement that. But one thing I decided to do was to create a podcast for others to do exactly what Shawn Ryan's did for me. And in this podcast, I bring on ordinary people who've done extraordinary things with their lives. We talk about their highest of highs and their absolute lowest of lows in the hopes that you men and women who are going through it right now can identify with them, can gain some hope and inspiration, and realize that if we have healed, you can do the exact same thing. It's not rocket science. It's no miracle, but you have to raise your hand and ask for that help. So in that vein, I'm excited to introduce my next guest. He is Wes Sharp. Wes is a Marine Corps veteran and recovery mentor who has lived both the discipline of service and the chaos of addiction. After years of triumph and struggle in the addiction game, which should have cost him his life, he ultimately chose a path rooted in accountability, faith, and forward motion. His recovery was built through hard structure, physical endurance, and confronting identity loss head on. Not through comfort or shortcuts, because trust me, guys, he tried. Today, Wes works with veterans and high performing individuals who are tired of surface level recovery and are ready for real change. He speaks candidly about addiction, trauma, and the work required to rebuild a life with integrity. His message is simple: ownership, discipline, and purpose, one step at a time. Wes, great to have you on, brother. Truly an honor to speak to you today.
Hey, thank you very much, man. It means a lot. Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
It's as
Please
you
send me
know, there's no coincidences, right? Like, I feel like it's safe to say you and I are past all that in life. So how cool for us to
Absolutely.
be in this position now.
Yeah, truly. And the way that Wes and I came about introduction wise was I had a Instagram live book launch with Taylor Kavanaugh the other day, my mindset coach and friend. And he and Wes are friends as well. They live near each other. And Wes said, excuse me, Taylor told me you have to have Wes on your pod. So we exchanged info, got on the phone yesterday, had quite a lengthy conversation. And it was amazing. It was almost like what he was telling me, I could have told him and vice versa. So I thought he'd be fantastic for my podcast. And, as you guys hear him speak, you will see exactly why. So, brother, let's get to know you a little bit. Where'd you grow up? How'd you grow up? Family life? Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, born in Phoenix, out in Arizona. Don't remember much of that, and then moved up north to Washington, and that's where most of childhood happened, most of life per se. So I grew up pretty middle class, but very, very much the deceiving house that you would think is perfect because mom is always, dressed, to the hilt, and dad's looking proper and all of that. However, right on the inside, like nobody knows what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they looked at little Wes like, man, such a well behaved young man, right? And it's like, you didn't see like how that was like whipped into shape, like, and
Yep.
I don't say that like lightly, you know what I mean?
And what was going
So
on?
it's from a very early age, it was established that my ideas didn't mean shit because they came from me.
Yep.
And they were either dad's ideas or like eventually like the brother-in-law influence as like the dad type influence, if that makes sense. But that's why I like became this very good helper. I could hold the flashlight with this hand, the fucking wrench with this hand, like hand stuff with that. So that's how it was painted, right? So there was that aspect of the home life. There was a very awkwardness at school. I couldn't relate to most any kids at all. It was always
What do you think that is?
I was always in between all of the kids. Like sports were never a thing in my household. Like they,
Okay.
like if it wasn't any of their ideas, then like the shit was stupid. You know what I mean?
Really? Yeah, absolutely. But
So
even
like
sports as
the
an interest
sports were
would
looked
not
at
pique
like
theirs
rich kid
for you.
things, basically. You know what I mean? Rich kid
Really?
thing.
Yeah.
And like
What do mom
we
and dad
weren't
do for a living,
involved.
Wes?
What's that?
What do mom and dad do for a living?
So dad at the time was still doing long haul trucking. I mean, putting in miles. Like, if you could think back to like Smokey and the Bandit type stuff, is absolutely what he did after his service, which we could get into later. And something that wasn't talked about and that I didn't even know about really until I was maybe 16, 15, 16 years old. however, like now all of that makes sense because he's a Vietnam era veteran as a PJ.
Okay.
So
was your PJ?
Yeah. So it's like, after I joined, a lot of the things make sense with, no, Dad wasn't an asshole. Like, he had PTSD,
Yeah.
But we can get
Yeah,
into
there's no
that
frame of
later.
reference.
But yeah, right. It's like you don't know what you don't know, like we talked about.
Yep.
But no, I mean, school was awkward. But the real reason, like, I couldn't relate to any of the kids, it's like, what everybody didn't know, it's like at daycare, like, that's where, all of the traumas as a male that most don't talk about, like, most people don't even think happens, you know what I mean? But like from the ages, 4 to 6-ish, like where Wes learned about sex was at daycare getting held down from the older boy kids at daycare. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How old were these kids?
What's that?
How old were they?
I mean, maybe a 2-year or 3-year like gap.
Wow, that's it? That's crazy.
And it seems that it was like it seems that it was a passed down thing, which like I didn't learn about until years and years later after like looking into stuff that like you used to do, like that's a huge thing of passing down those kinds of traits to folks.
Yeah.
So I was on the receiving end of that, nonetheless. So I was always like outside of there, you know what I mean? Like I was always good at just being quiet, being hidden, not seen. Like absolutely the gray man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because any attention either drew like beatings, yellings, or, what we just talked about, it would bring that, right? Because then you're like, you don't want to be the squeaky wheel. It was very much kids were to be seen and not heard, like back then with me.
Heard that about 100 times in my youth.
It's an awkward deal, and it's like obviously nobody's fault, right? Like why everything happened, right? It all happened because this is my story, man. It all happened because all of this was already written, and it was it's how it is, like why not me? Why somebody else? So
unfortunately,
yeah. Well, I mean, God doesn't give these kinds of tests, to the ones that can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer in that.
Absolutely. It just sucks in all those years from when you went through to when you finally realize it, and can work through that because there's a lot of trauma in those years.
I know, right. But it is what it is. And I wouldn't change it to be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't change a thing, man.
Me too. I agree.
But that like ties into the medicine stuff that we could talk about, later or whatever. But that initially was when my red button, if you want to like think about it, was pushed. Okay. So I could move on from like a lot of the other traumas and stuff in my life, but I could have moved on from that one because I buried that thing, dude, deeper than the Titanic and deeper than the stuff underneath that, like I had forgotten a lot of those things for years because it's wild what the mind will do with such traumas. Whether that's, that's me, I've had plenty of shoulder surgeries and stuff. It's like, you forget how bad it hurt and how long that road back was and stuff. It's just a little scar now, right? But
yeah, you wax nostalgic, man.
It's so bad now that like I can remember certain songs that were played during those, interactions.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, was this repressed stuff you found out later when you were using psychedelics, or were
this
you kind
was
of?
this was all found out. I mean, once I had made the decision to get sober.
Okay.
Once like I did a timeline, a no shit timeline from the very ever first day that you had a drop of alcohol on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 4x8, like old school butcher paper, if you could think back, like the huge paper, and it was just writing all of it. And it's wild. I don't know if you've done such a thing, but it is truly something else.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cutting Edge Testosterone Therapy, a veteran-owned, family-run clinic led by a retired first responder. At Cutting Edge, they help men and women rebuild strength, focus, and vitality through advanced hormone therapy, peptides, and performance-based weight management. Whether you've served your country, your community, or your family, Cutting Edge helps you get your edge back safely, professionally, and with people who understand what service takes out of you. Cutting Edge offers individualized care with no monthly fees or contracts. Learn more at cuttingedgetestosteronetherapy.com. Cutting Edge Testosterone Therapy, built by those who serve for those who still do. Yeah, I guess in one respect, writing my book is similar. I journaled it, but not in that respect. But yeah, I would say my writing the book is probably closest to that because I'm writing that, these things that cause me pain chronologically. So, all right, listen, we're going to work backwards when we get a little further ahead. But let me ask you, as you're proceeding through childhood, is everything essentially staying the same between dad, your relationships with, kids in the neighborhood and stuff? Are you a loner at this point?
Very much a loner. Dad's gone for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month, at a time. So it's the whole latchkey deal, like make whatever's in the fridge. Like mom's trying to work the full-time job to do the thing, you know what I mean? So she's getting home
Yep.
later. And then like all in the meanwhile, like there's all of those traumas going on too, like with my parents. So it's like she's expected to be at home and answer the phone at whatever time that like dad had like said. This is back before all of the gadgets, right?
Yeah.
So there's that trauma too, growing up within the household where you're just walking on eggshells because somebody's going to snap.
Was he violent with your mom?
It was never violent. It was like my dad didn't have to even get off the couch. You know what I mean? With his vocabulary.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, trust me, brother. It makes total sense.
He was not that big of a guy at all, but in his time was quite the thing. My dad was a bit older. He was 73 when he passed. He passed just a year ago on the 1st, actually, this month. So, so quite a bit older. I've got a sister that is 13, 14 years older than me.
Okay.
So like, I didn't grow up like in the school system or anything with her. And she was like newly married at that time with her husband, a new baby. So like I was an uncle at a very early age.
Yep.
It was very awkward, man, looking back. But yeah, it was like, dad left us with the shitty ass old Monte Carlo to where like we're barely making it in the school parking lot. And it's like the kids are laughing, like, it is all of that. Like,
yeah, that's tough,
full
man.
tilt.
You don't want to be sticking out as a kid, man. You want to be in the middle. You don't want anyone noticing you as a kid.
Yeah, no, it was like, dude, I just want like a cloak, to get pushed through this. And it's like, I could never focus in school with what was going on. And so it's like, back then, you know, everybody's together all day, right? And now, like, where are all these kids going down this hallway? Like, yep, like the special kids, basically, you know, like to go into the reading programs and read books that, like, I even cared about, man. Like, that was the problem, like, looking back and knowing what I know now, right? It's like none
Okay.
of that caught my attention.
Gotcha. Okay, so as you get now out of high school, what are your prospects? You going to college? You going work? You going into the military? How's it looking to
Well,
you?
I would say so. High school is where things did change finally for me. It's like I finally pushed past the household uh, care, I guess you would say, and it's like I joined the wrestling team, which was like totally like out of like way out of sorts, right? But it's like I just went and did my thing by myself. It's not like I had folks that came and watched, and it was that thing. So
Yeah, just
still
no
to this
support.
day, like when I hear people say that, hey, I'm going to my kid's basketball practice at whatever, I'm like, that's so odd to me and foreign, because that's not how I grew up. Um,
Nah, too bad.
but obviously the other way is the right way.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
do that as my senior year and make it to state, right? And it's like, look what would have happened had I tried or had some encouragement years prior, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that rolled into just back then it was either you know drop out, you graduate, you go to college, or you join the military. And college definitely was not in my cards. It didn't interest me. Like I didn't even know what or the who. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, the military was the route, and I chose the
How's your
Marine
dad with
Corps
that
route.
choice? Your dad have a problem with it, or he's fine with that choice?
I think he was good with it. And that's what kind of opened the door for me to actually start getting to know him finally.
Ah,
That was kind of the problem. And like I initially told him, it's like, I don't hate you at all. It's like, I just don't know you, you know?
yeah.
And so that was kind of the start of our relationship, is that with a little bit, like I got a little bit out of him, you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a way to breach the divide between you guys, because now you have something in common. And I don't know, maybe he just listen. He's going through his stuff.
Oh,
I'm sure all the trauma he experienced, he never spoke to anyone about. Who knows how he was raised? He doesn't know how to communicate with his son, and he doesn't allow himself to be vulnerable to speak to you. You know, trust me, brother. I went through the same exact thing. Um, I guess I would have had more compassion for my father if it had ceased after I got out of the house and grew up and became a man, and then we established a relationship. But we never did. So I guess that's why I still hold. Maybe hopefully he'll get
and
over it.
that's kind of like what I touched on in the beginning. It's like that's when things clicked for me. Like initially, like even a little bit, it's like, oh shit, like a lot, like no wonder he gets upset when the screen door slips out of your hand and slams, because in his head, what do you think just happened? Like something just went off, right? So he,
Yeah.
it makes his heart, and so like all of that makes me do the same things, so.
Yep.
It was like it put a lot of things to bed in my head, uh, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%. So once you go, are you immediately joining the military as soon as you get done with high school?
No, no. So like my story was a long story, even to get in, man. Uh, so like I turned 20 in boot camp, to put it in
Okay.
perspective. Um, so during the whole wrestling year, like I explained a little bit, like I tore my shoulder beyond like multiple dislocations. So I'd have
Damn.
surgery on it. It's got anchors, screws, all of that in there. So quite the healing process. And the whole process was to get back to be able to join.
Okay. So that took 2 years of rehab, essentially.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, shoulders are no joke, man. I mean, I remember one of my buddies on
And
the softball
it's
team in the
like,
precinct.
you
So it
know,
was 2
still
years to
to
throw
this
softball
day,
again.
it's like, that's about all of the motion you got out of it.
Wow.
And so it's like, the biggest thing is like, I couldn't tell, the recruiters couldn't write it down as that, right? And it's like, so in my head, I'm just trying to make sure that I can do all of the things that I'm going to need to do, you know, for the next 13, 14 weeks.
Yeah.
And trying to do pull-ups like overhand like that, you have to compensate with your back and everything else, right? So trying to figure out how to do all of that stuff and make sure, because like there was no not like joining, you know, or making it, right?
Yeah, it wasn't an option.
There's no way you could come back to the town that I used to live. Like, that's not, like, you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was absolutely never
Not an option.
No.
Okay.
Not even, because there was a lot of hate, a lot of he'll never be able to do this, right? You know, I've heard those conversations had. And it was just like, okay, like, check this out.
Good
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Good
Let's
motivating. Yeah, exactly. Good motivation. So what year is this now that you're joining?
So 2006, June,
Okay.
is when I stepped foot. I was a Hollywood Marine out there, MCRD, San Diego.
Nice. Why'd you choose Marines over Air Force to establish a PJ?
I mean, back then, like back then he didn't tell me much about it. I mean, there wasn't much info, and frankly, like, it just wasn't. It's not it.
Wasn't a thing. Gotcha. So, all right. So talk to how was basic for you? Cruise through it, or was it difficult?
Let's see. Well, so like first off, like that was the first time I'd ever been on a plane.
Really? Wow.
That was the first time I'd ever been like outside of like the town. Really.
Damn. That's crazy.
So like that was all new to me. And then like, you know, they have it like all like blocked off to where like right when you get off, they have drill instructors. And like, you know, we have to make sure to say that this was back then, right? Like, who knows what is going on now, right?
Yeah.
But this was just my time. But yeah, they've got drill instructors right when you get off, so it's just like chaos, basically rushing you to the bus. And then like, I had no idea where the San Diego airport is in reference to the base, which is like right on the other side of the fence.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like literally right on the other side of the fence. But they drove us around for hours because they make you put your heads down on the bus and it's nighttime. So like, you don't know what's right, all for purpose, right? And then it's just chaos. But I can remember like on like my Black Friday and picking up, which is like Black Friday in the Marine Corps is when you get picked up by your actual drill instructors. And things go like all kinds of astray, as you can imagine, with drill instructors running over foot lockers. And it's like when I saw like one of the smallest little drill instructors just come running and chest kick this dude across foot lockers, I was like, dude, I'm in the right fucking place. Like, I wanted all of it, dude. I wanted all of it.
Why do you think that?
Because frankly, how I grew up, like, the yelling and the stuff, like, it was just an everyday thing, you know?
Okay.
And it's, you know, it's kind of like I said before, like, I had like 20 years, well, I had like 15 years experience per se as a gray man, right? Like, kind of like we talked about. So, dude, I can remember being in third phase and one of my drill instructors coming up to me and asking me, he's like, hey, are you even in this platoon? And I'm just like, yep. And then it's just like, like I got what I got, but like it wasn't, like we had folks that couldn't even tie their boots, like for real.
What?
Holy
shit.
Like for real, dude. Because like back then, you got to think this is 2006. It's floodgates.
Oh,
And
don't you have to pass that ASVAB?
Well, see, like waivers were a thing, but like nobody fucking gave Wes one.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I had to take the ASVAB 3 fucking times, dude, to get the score that I wanted for the jobs that I wanted.
Okay.
It's like it took me a long time, man, because I'm not perfect at everything. And one thing that I realized today, it's like one could look at my life resume and say that I failed even with like the hobbies that I've tried, whether that's motocross or trying to do, a firearms thing. It's like I've always, once I've like wanted to do something, I always hire the best coaches I can find, the best trainers I can find. Like I go as far down the rabbit hole as I can. And those things just weren't my gift. If that's, those things they just weren't my gifts.
Yeah.
But it's not till now that I know that. Because I always wanted to be the cool basketball player with the jersey, man, and like be the pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I fucked around and became the pro in addiction.
Yeah. It definitely get at that.
I did, but no, the main thing, like in boot camp, was just don't get hurt, don't get rolled back, because like if you complain about anything, they'll drop you to this like little shit platoon, and you could be stuck there. There was dudes there for like a year that were still in boot camp, like because they went in for a cold. Like we couldn't go in. To put it in perspective, when I got home on leave, the first thing that I did, got in my truck and went down to the local like civilian ER because I had pneumonia, strep throat, and 2 ear infections. And they're like,
damn,
why didn't you just go to medical? And it's like, dude, you can't. Like they will like, oh, he's out of here.
That's nuts.
That was the biggest thing, man, really. Like all of the other, it was just like a learning deal and just taking it literally. The chow to chow thing, is real. It's like, or sometimes minute to minute.
Yep. Yeah, one foot in front of the other. I can see that, man. So once you get down now, done with that. Are you combat? Are you going into combat? Are you getting deployed?
So non-combat MOS is what I went in as. I had some good advice from some lifelong friends to this point that it's like, dude, don't do what I'm doing with the grunt life. And that guy, I'm still brothers, best friends, was his best man at his wedding. All of that still is very current today. And he's been right about 4 different life changing events that have happened before they've happened about me. He's just that kind of a wisdom guy.
Nice.
And so I went in as a 3521 heavy diesel mechanic, not even really knowing what any of that meant, but it's like still in the Marine Corps, like you're still a rifleman every day. Like we all qualify the same, range all the way up to 500 yards. Back then it was still open sights. And it's like, that's just not what we did every day. Like we still had to do that every month, every week. Trust me, like, because we as those folks, they would refer to us as pogues, like person other than grunt. So like we're not shit, right?
Yep.
And like, man, that used to bug the tar out of me when people called me pogue. Like, so what did I end up doing? Because back then my ego was so big and like prideful about it, right? That I didn't get respect. There's all of the different stuff. I'm sure you guys had similar barter in the whatever units that you were with as a police. Yeah,
In terms of,
just banter of different job per se.
talking smack to each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, like your school resource officer, being
Right,
called
right,
a
right.
punk or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Or if they're inside the precinct, you call them house mouse. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, right, right. So yeah, so I get stationed in beautiful 29 Palms, California.
Nice.
Like man, they even had rumors about that place in boot camp where you don't know nothing about nothing, but like it's talked about. Like it's one of the like probably not the best places to get stationed. Like, however, comma, I loved it. It's out in the middle of the Mojave Desert,
Yep.
and there's just nothing there. Like, it's just you either turn into like a video game dude, an alcoholic, a gym rat. Like, it's just training, basically. That's it.
Okay. So whatever you make of it is what happens.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
because everything's like 3 hours away. Like, to go over to Pendleton or the coast, you're talking 3-4 hours.
Damn. So what was your choice? What did you make yourself?
It was a flak jacket on and running, like after work on the weekends while drinking, you know?
Yep.
Um, I didn't drink while I first got in. I didn't drink till I turned 21 because, like, it is very strict as far as the DUI aspect goes.
What happens if you get
Back,
one?
it's kicked out. It's
Really?
bad discharge. Like, they were very, like, our command, like, they were like not, they were zero. Like, but they were also like the good old boys club. So, like, if you had done it in the past, right, like, it is what it is, but like not going forward,
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
so it was huge. Like, and I think most folks don't realize the impact that you fucking around in the military can have out here, like with a bad discharge, or like, I'm sure you see it on everything.
Oh
If
yeah.
you've ever bought a car or whatever, it's a box, you know?
Yep. No,
Um,
it's like a scarlet letter you wear the rest of your life, man.
you know, and it also should be looked at a case by case scenario, just like everything else, like we talked about. But yeah, like it's a lot of weight. So I can just remember, like, I went in with that mindset, and that was definitely frowned upon um, by like the NCOs that were currently there because, let's face it, the Marine Corps was born in a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the heritage is drinking.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so it's like I can remember like duct tapes hung upside down, like shot with a BB gun, like Jack Daniels bottle in my mouth. You know what I mean? It's just
Yep.
like that's just how it was back then.
High school with guns.
It's like it was either that, that's because they liked you. The ones that they didn't talk to, those are the ones that got pushed away. Like, so we were. Our battalion was in charge of all of the third shop maintenance, which would be like the highest echelon of maintenance. So you're talking pulling motors, transmissions, like all of the big rebuilds on all the Humvees back then, the 7 tons, the LVSs. They had barely started rolling out. We were getting MRAPs, the original ones. So that's what all of us would be doing. And at a very early on, like, I only turned wrenches in the shop for maybe like 3 months as a brand new guy to this unit, to this platoon, etc. And at the time, there was some very, very good leadership there, in my
Yep.
opinion, because they went on to live full careers. And we also had like those style of sergeants that, they basically gave their career and rank to stick up for their guys. They were like lifelong sergeants at that point. Like, we're never going to promote you. You know what I mean? We had those kinds of guys.
Not company men.
That just saw. It's like once I had a purpose and a thing to do and structure, it's like, dude, look at how far this guy can go. So I got pulled on to the quality control side of the things, and that's checking everything once all of the boxes said that they were done. You know, when people do engine swap, do all that, like my job's to check it, sign off on all of that, make sure everything's good before it goes out, right? And so that's what that became like my life, that and just training. And as like that role, look, a lot of people don't understand, like everybody needs mechanics with them. Like who wouldn't want that, right? And this guy does this or this, right? So that was my first meritorious promotion into Lance Corporal. They're like, we got to get this guy some rank.
Okay.
So we do that. That just kind of continues. Go to a bunch more different schools. Become certified as a wrecker operator. So back then it was the MK36, like a big 7-ton with a boom on the back, 3 winches. Literally pull MRAPs through the earth with them.
Gotcha.
And that finally became my ticket on how I was able to get deployed, because that unit specifically was a non-deployable unit. So it was just really odd how my journey went in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Now, how long did it take you to get to that unit to become deployable?
So I didn't deploy until 2009.
So 3 years?
Yeah, it took a while because they were just getting back as I had showed up. So there was all of that going on. But I guess that's why I'm here today, I guess, to talk to you. You know?
Exactly. So when do you go over in 2009, and how was your deployment?
I mean, it's like none of us really knew what to expect, right? Because it's not like we had done, months and months of deployment training, right, leading up to it. But like for us, nobody had, none of us had been, right?
Okay.
I deploy as a corporal. I can remember flying in, and it's like, now there's all the alarms going off. Like we're all sitting on the cargo nets, and it's like now the plane's like flying upside down this way, that way, deploying like flares, and it's just like, oh wow, like yep, I guess this is it, yeah, because like that's the whole goal, like even for us, right, is deployment, like
right,
it's all about the ribbons, the badges, the fucking all of it, right? It's like, it's so wild to think how different everybody's first day is there, right? Because, everybody knows what, like, all the soft guys do and all the everybody knows what those guys do, right?
Oh, yeah.
But nobody necessarily knows what we do on deployments. But I'm pretty sure they all ride in trucks and helicopters and things that need to get fixed, don't they?
Of course. Of course. So, I mean, you guys are essentially doing what you do. How does it relate to combat? Like, what are you seeing in terms of combat? Are you seeing any type of combat?
Okay, so I'm outside the wire every day, attached to whatever convoys that want to take me with them, whether that's an EOD unit, whether that's, a unit with civilian. Back then they were like big Kenworth up armored trucks, to deliver water, deliver like all of the things that the tiny little shitty outposts get, like came by truck.
Okay.
So I get attached to different convoys, variety different. So there could be gunfire going on, and I'm playing with my control box, like moving the crane around to pick up the mine roller that had just got blown up and put it onto the truck and like just do the deal. Like it was weird to me, like that it didn't really bother me that all the other shit was going on, because like I had a job to do too. Like my gun just hung on the side of me. Like that wasn't my primary deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was there fully as a support unit and to help out wherever I could, and like I could fix the truck, I could tow the truck. You know, there was numerous nights, my friend, that I would get called out by name by different battalions to go help out their folks that were out doing a little bit of mud bogging, maybe down in some waddies where they shouldn't be. And now I need to haul 3 Humvees up out of this canyon and help get them back on base before anybody says something. You know?
Yep. Hell yeah.
It's,
so now, you weren't in any engagements, but are you looking for them? Are you hoping that it happens? Or are you like, cool, you know, it's not something I need to really check off the bucket list?
No, I mean, it just became so numb. Like, you're driving around every day. Like, I logged thousands of miles across Iraq. And it's like the IED threat. It's just like, it's just a matter of when's it going to be me?
Yeah.
You know, like, you're so numb to any of it. It's like most of the time the jammers didn't work. So it's like you're just cruising with your iPod, and like, and this isn't, you know, maybe this isn't Dr. Fact or anything, but I think that's why a lot of like my style of MOSs have more PTSD-ish symptoms, is because we were on like the defensive all the time. Like, we weren't like getting to work the problem and do the thing. Like, we're just out here doing our job, really. You know, in a sense, like in a support element. Like we supported 7th Marines. You know what I mean? And that was our job. And so I think that's why all of us carried a little bit more as far as like the, you know, like 4th of July and stuff like that, because to us, like, our backs are always to it, basically.
It's a very strange dynamic to be in the middle.
So it's just another day, man. It was just another day.
Yep. So
like,
after that deployment ends,
you know, like, I would get stuck out at whatever little shitty cop for a week, whatever, with red air, because the sandstorms are so bad. You know, you can't see your hand in front of your face. And so, like, they're not flying anything. They're not doing any of that. So you're just stuck there sleeping on your truck. You know, like, it just is what it is. As long as you got your iPod, or, like, the small things back then.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and, like, those bases would get hit or mortared. And it's like, okay, like, it's just another day back then.
Yeah, you're normal, man. As abnormal as it is, it's your normal. And it's nuts. So, all right, this deployment, anything of note for the deployment, or it kind of goes off without a hitch and ends?
No, it goes well. I ended up getting a combat meritorious promotion to sergeant there because I had the most experience out of our whole battalion outside the wire with doing that. So that, like, really ramped things up as far as coming back and being able to go back to the unit and kind of take the reins over as the platoon sergeant and very much all of the NCO role. Okay.
So essentially, when you're coming back, are you almost ending your career? Are we near 4 years now?
Yep. And like, okay. I had always said that I was going to get out, and man, the amount of BS and like how weak things were getting back then, in, you know, unless you were to go to a specialized unit, it's just like I couldn't stand how things were getting, how soft things were getting with the kid gloves things. Yep. I started looking into all kinds of other avenues. You know, looking more down the EOD path, looking more down, just getting involved in that community, and ended up doing a little bit of it after I got out as a civilian with the contractors that were there on base. And then it's just like everything went sour with the relationship, and it was just like, what are we doing in life? And that's when I moved back up to Washington and kind of tried to embrace it and see what this whole thing was about being a civilian.
Yeah. What'd you think? Tough transition?
You know, at first, it's all of the things, right? All of the grass is greener because you could do whatever you want now.
Yep.
And it's like, that wears off pretty quick. You know, you realize that nobody gives a fuck. You know, on the outside, we're like, it ain't give a shit. You know, a lot of times it's frowned upon. And then it's like, I just started taking it off my resume sometimes with jobs.
Really?
Like, it's, I mean, it wasn't horrible at all. You know what I mean? It could have been way worse. And
Okay.
it was
and what are you doing for work now?
I went back and started welding again for a while in a shop.
Okay.
I was always very, very capable with that side of the house, like anything you can imagine, like fabrication wise.
Okay.
It was very good, but like that's why I'm not really interested in them now. You know what I mean? Like I don't even tell people I can weld.
Oh yeah, that's great. That is great. So now, are you in a union now? Or are you trying to aspire to something different?
No, so this was like a little shitty non-union shop, and I kind of lucked out the time and happened to be pretty good friends with this guy that, you know, he worked for the union as a sheet metal guy, and I was like, okay, like what is, like, tell me about this, you know, like what's this about? Because nobody even talked about trade schools when I was in high school back then. Like it wasn't even a thing, but like how golden of a ticket truly is it? Because whatever lane you choose, like now you got your card. Like
Yeah.
once you have your union card, you can go wherever you want, like and make relatively good money. And not you're not coming out of pocket for it, right?
Yep.
So I get into a 5-year apprenticeship in the sheet metal trades, doing all of the biggest ductwork and the biggest like industrial stuff you could imagine. Back then, nobody had even heard of all of these data centers, but like that's what we were doing back then, is putting in these data centers up here in Washington and Oregon. And you're talking ductwork that you could drive your truck through, like the size of that. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even know what like house ductwork was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's giant, massive stuff. So everything, as you can imagine, like fasteners, it's all massive structure.
Yeah, that's nuts. So you're enjoying what you're doing?
Yeah, it was cool. It was a fast life. It was similar. It was a lot similar to the military in a lot of ways. It was like, you know, we were out of town, a bunch of young guys chasing work. It's like you're making bank. You're working 12s all week, but then as soon as you get off, like everybody has a bottle in their car, basically. Like it's just party central, you know. So that's obviously not where it started, because it started, you know, years ago at my first drop, you know, of booze. But that's definitely what the fire kind of came, you know, started going heavy on the booze.
Okay, so personal life's kind of sliding down at this time.
Yeah, but it was you know, like yes, absolutely, that's going on, but it's like, to put it into perspective, it's like growing up drinking was life. Drinking was everything. Like when you sat down for a movie, you sat down for a car race, you have a campfire, you go hunting, drink. The whole kind of goal of even doing the thing is to be like, everybody's dying to crack the first beer.
Yeah. Need an excuse to do the drinking.
Yeah, at its
window
fullest,
dressing.
right? At its fullest.
Yep.
So
now, how are you
it's
fighting
like
with?
that. That was thought of like the thing to be, right? Because then I could act however, and it didn't. Because I was never okay in my own skin. If
Okay.
that. So this
Yeah,
allowed me
yeah.
like a little. This allowed a mask.
Yeah, I think it's why most people start with alcohol, man, because then it just releases the tension. It lets you, socialize with others easier. You just release things that have been kind of holding you hostage, if you will, man.
Right.
Anxiety, low self-esteem, and it lets you just kind of flourish. But in retrospect or in reality, it's not doing that.
No, and it's like the crowd that I was with. Like we were all like wild dirt bikers, like adrenaline junkies in different facets. So it's like the wilder the person got while we were all hanging out at the pool parties or whatever, like the better,
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure you hang with a
And so finally,
fast
like
crew.
I was like, wow, people like me.
Yeah, exactly. So as time's going on now, you starting to party harder and harder. What's going on now? Is this stuff from childhood kind of rearing its ugly head? You fighting with those demons?
At the time it was still. At the time, I like all of my like stuff, we'll call it, as far as PTSD and like dealing with any like military stuff, didn't really come on at first. Because for quite a while I like I instantly went back and into motocross, and I was just so into that I didn't have time to process anything. Like it didn't hit me until a little later. Like what was really going on, because like my mood is just trash. Like the depression, like back then, you're talking still having nightmares of all of like, because like I said, like while I wasn't causing the gunfire, like I was still involved in and around all of it all the time.
Sure.
So I'm getting all of that in, and so that, like I knew that there was the sexual stuff, but not to the extent that I've obviously found now. You know what I mean? If I
Okay.
were to talk, but I didn't know what was even going on, man. Like why all of it's going on, or if this is just what everybody's feeling like, or because it's not like I could talk to anybody about any of this stuff ever. Like,
Yeah. Me too. I mean, not the sexual component there, but as I said, man, after retirement, I didn't even know what was happening, bro. I just knew I was like in this depressive anger state, and
I
some
was
days I
just,
would wake up
yeah, I
feeling
was
great.
just like,
One bad
man,
thought, man, bam.
yeah, it's like this is not, because you know, there's obviously way more to the story, right? But yeah, all that's going on, and it's just you got like the VA is involved, like the meds are involved, like all of that is going on, and it's just partying hard, and then it's like all of the injuries that come with like the motocross stuff, like the injuries come like when you get knocked off trucks, the injuries from all of it, from carrying 100-pound packs, like from wearing fucking all of the bullshit gear back then, like all of
Yep.
it adds up. And it's just like, okay, then I start down like Obviously, when I had my shoulder done, like I had painkillers and whatnot, and I always remember liking like the feel that I got while I was taking those because it let me act normal around people. Like when I would ride with somebody to the store. Because like me going to the store like in a public place back then is like a no go because that's like way too much for me to process with crowds watching like all of that.
Yep.
Hell no. Like not at all. So this was almost like an antidepressant for me in a sense of how my brain inhibited it, in my sense, right?
Yeah.
So, you're talking a few surgeries every year, still riding while I'm working union, and that's like what's funding all of this stuff, basically, because none of it's cheap.
Oh, no.
Hell no. You start getting involved with more people that are injured, then it's like, hey, like, do you have any more left? Like, my stuff still hurts, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. Are you realizing, though, that something's going on? You have a problem?
I didn't know that I had a problem until one day I was at work, working union, right, with my boss, and I had eaten Subway for lunch, and it was like an hour later, and I was like, oh, God, like, I don't feel good, and I had to run out, and like, dude, you got to go through like 3 security checkpoints to get out of like one of these buildings. Like, they're very high security.
Okay.
Trying to like get the key card to do it, go puke, and like it's just like back and forth, and then I'm going like to the other bathroom, and I call my buddy back then, and I'm like, hey man, I think I ate some bunk like Subway. He's like, no man, you just got sick. And I was like, nah, there's no way, because I'd heard stories of people getting sick, and I'm just like, nah, that's not me. Like, I'm just taking it because of this, you know what I mean? It's not that.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Can't be toxic.
And the next, like, 3 days, I was going through the sweats. I was going through, like, it was hell trying to go to work and, like, just barely drink Gatorade,
Yep.
with just the nausea, the running leg syndrome, if that makes sense. Just.
Oh, yeah.
And once I got back home, I took one, instantly gone. Like, I was dry as a bone,
Yep.
And then
unfortunately.
it clicked.
And
But like,
how long?
I didn't really care. Also,
No, huh?
so I just went right back to it.
Okay.
And it's like it just, I for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a hereditary thing or what, but like when it comes to like sedatives, pain tolerance, like when I go to the dentist, when your average person has to get 1 shot in their mouth, like I've got to get 3 or 4 just for like a basic tooth thing. My body just eats it.
Yeah.
And like with booze, I mean, my tolerance, insanity. Same thing with the opioids and the pills. So that built like a fire engine, to where that built into an $1,800 a week, Percocet and fentanyl habit.
Jesus, it's like $85,000 a year.
$1,800. So like back then, you paid $1 a milligram, right? So
Yep.
you know what I mean?
No, yeah, that's nuts, man. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's not a great number to have, It's
no, that's definitely.
And it's
so
like,
how long does this go on for?
I mean, you're talking years.
And rehabs during any point?
What's that?
Any rehabs during the course of this?
No. So this is the thing, right? The last I mean, shoot, the last year of it was me spent scared, like not getting even high anymore. It's just consuming it to not get sick, to function, because I don't know how to fix this or make it go away. And I sure as shit, who am I going to reach? I can't admit in this to anybody. Like,
Yeah.
everyone will, you know what I mean? Like, lower than like the scum.
Oh yeah, it's humiliating.
And I can remember calling the local hospital line, and this nice old lady picks up the phone, and I tell her like what's going on, and she's like, well, you can come down here, and there's a tiny little single bed with a rubber mattress on it that you can lay in and figure it out, or you can do it in the comfort of your house. I was like, so I'm not going to die? And she's like, nope. I'm like, all right, like, that's what the fuck we're doing. And I can remember driving home over Stevens Pass, and I threw everything that I had left out the window. That may have been a bad move because a deer may have ate it, but it was the right move at the time.
Yeah.
But that was it. And it was, you know, meanwhile, like, I'm hiding this from everybody, like my girlfriend at the time, like, you know, the folks that knew, but like the masses, you know, nobody essentially in my life knows about this. So right now, my friend, so it was just in bed. It was, dude, you're just rolling, flipping, like having a battle with your mattress. Like, you don't want anything touching you. Like, you're hot, you're freezing. Too many blankets isn't enough, but enough. It's like, it was absolutely, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Not anybody.
Yeah. It's horrible. When I was
And,
going through mine, only happened
it's
like
like
one or two nights.
my withdrawals are one thing, and then like pause is another thing, which is post-acute withdrawal syndrome, is a whole nother thing I had to learn. I'm doing all of this learning off of buddies, off of Google. This is all home stuff.
Yep.
You know, my quote unquote dealer at the time, like, would sell me Suboxone and all of that. So like I did all of this, like, you know, the wrong way, but the only way that I could back then, and knew how, I guess, and figured out.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And
so what finally brings you to the conclusion?
You're talking a year and a half of all of that, of withdrawals with pause. You know, it's but all along I had my buddy Booze to comfort me.
Yep.
And so I definitely fell back on that hard.
Okay.
To replace.
So what finally happens at the end of this to get you off of everything?
What's that?
What happens at the end of this whole road to get you off of everything? What finally did it?
As far as
you stopping everything, drinking, pills, everything.
I mean, I guess it was the choice when I made to go to my first rehab.
So you finally hit the rock bottom, and you're like, I need help?
I mean, that was my first rock bottom. You know...
Did you want to go, or you felt like someone was forcing you?
No, so I'm at the very peak of my drinking. This would have been 2000 and... probably about 2019, somewhere in there. I was up to 2 handles a day, vodka, and about 2 fists just to get through the night without going into same type of withdrawal is pill but a little different. Way worse on the puking side for me.
Okay.
So I get home one day. I'm staying in I'm living in the parking lot of this motel, basically. But I decide that I'm done, and I'm told it's maybe 30 minutes later, and that's when I have my first seizure, and bit off both sides of my tongue. And that was the first time, I spent probably 2 weeks in the hospital. Coming back from that, so I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do we even do? I've never, what do you do when you hit this, right? So go to rehab. I go to this pretty nasty place. It was a bad introduction to the whole game that rehab is, but it's this lockdown facility, and it's like people are, getting into it in there, and threatening to stab each other. It's just craziness, and it's like no setting for someone to try to do work and find sobriety. However, Tom, I was scared enough at that point that so now I'm sober a year and a half after that, and about as miserable in life as I've ever been. I would go to work, come home, change, go directly to bed. People refer to it as like a dry drunk, but just angry. Because frankly, I couldn't drink now,
Yeah. And what happens next with that?
I just decided one day, you know what? If life's gonna suck, then I'm just gonna drink. So I tell myself I'm gonna slowly ease back into it. It only takes a couple weeks before I'm back up to a fifth a day. And I only buy that at the store, and then I come home, and that's the ritual every day. If I buy more, it will be gone. If I buy more and hide it, it will be gone. And then I'm trying to mitigate. Now, if I do too much, what's going to happen? All of these things, because I didn't know that if you just quit alcohol when you're that dependent, you can die. That is one of the things that can kill you. I had no idea about any. In my mind, the only thing I knew about people dying of alcohol abuse was what do they get in a car wreck or something? I had no true knowledge. Everybody knows that when you stick a needle in your arm, it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know. Which none of what I say is an excuse. I hope that's taken.
No, it doesn't sound like
I'm just being straight up and my deal.
Yeah.
But so I learned a lot, no doubt. I never once opened the big book of AA while I was in there. I never did. I heard people talking about this was their third or fourth or fifth rehab, and I'm like, I'm one and done, son. That ain't me.
Yeah.
I'm just here for some basic alcohol shit. In my mind, that's all I was fucking there for, man. It just to appease people, basically.
Yep.
So yeah, go back to it. Now you're talking, second seizure, second ambulance call, third seizure, alcohol's consumed everything. It went rock bottom, and then another one and another one, and it just continued until the last hospital visit. I finally lost my vision. Can't walk, literally stuck in a hospital bed, in my late 30s.
Blind.
And it just there was a lot that it took for the effort that it was to go to the second rehab. I found Warrior's Heart in Texas, and that initial trip is what really. That's when I got fucking serious about things. If that makes sense, like, and that was one of the best places I could imagine to do it. They've got everything that you would frankly want as a first responder or veteran. You're not just at this place, like you're there, you're learning every day, you're doing group, you're doing, art, you're doing horse stuff, like not just petting them either, like you're actually like getting after it, like ranch style. You're going on like hikes. It's definitely, I would definitely recommend it as an option for folks, as a place
fantastic.
to look. Go there. Things didn't work out, and God wasn't ready. Mind you, all of this time I'm on probation because of an incident involving me and alcohol and my anger and all of that, right? So, like, a lot of this is to appease courts now, some of it, right? But while I'm there, and just something for you and your listeners, like, you can have a seizure after you're dependent on alcohol, like I was, up to like 120 days after.
Wow.
So I had been there already a few weeks, and we were fixing to step out on the hike that morning, and I just fell out, just right there next to everybody else standing there. Like, I was in the canine program there, like, just fucking fell the fuck out with a seizure. And like, luckily, like, there was some cool, like, 18 Delta dudes there, that, like, swooped me up before the ambulance got there. But nonetheless, like, I had to go home until I get, like, brain scans and stuff. So, like, tell me how defeated you think I felt. It's like, I can't even fucking do rehab. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So going back, a lot of mixed feelings. But I get back, just in time to find out that I have some other things in the mailbox that, had I not had that seizure, come home, found, I would have had a warrant out for my arrest, because the paperwork didn't get filed and that I had to email it, but nobody communicated that I wasn't here. So if I wouldn't have found that and stayed there and that seizure didn't happen, now you got Wes that just graduated this high off his high horse, right? Just graduated this program, come home, get a ticket, get pulled over or something, jail. How do you think that would have broke my spirits? So everything, so what I'm saying, and what really truly led up to me going to Warrior's Heart was the night that I was finally done, reached over in my range bag and grabbed my Glock 17 and just no hesitation, just rock in my mouth and click.
That's crazy.
It was a bad primer. And it sure as fuck worked after that, because I racked another one and, like, I still have, the evidence. And my Lord and Savior truly that night was the man that I had on the phone, that saved my life. Like, I had never met this guy ever. He lives in Minnesota, the former recon Marine, and it's who I got put in touch with that night on the phone. And that's what truly saved it that night. And after that, as far as, like, talking to folks and all of the things happen,
Mm-hmm.
It's, looking back, it doesn't even seem real, because that person doesn't even, I don't even register with that person now.
Yeah, he's long gone, man. Doesn't exist anymore. It's amazing. So
No,
once you
so go
get
back a
that,
third time. So now I've got 3 rehabs under my belt. it's like, I picked up, as you know, right? You pick up tools all the time on this journey on how to keep this thing going. And I've implemented, a schedule. I've got the notebooks going on, the calendars, but stuff just still wasn't like worked out or processed. The clarity wasn't there. There was still a lot of things that were still like kind of on my tool belt, as far as like, if you could imagine us wearing a tool belt, like suicide was very much still an option for me. Because it just did not seem like the life. There was no joy yet. And so I relapsed again in a matter of 4 days and basically just drank. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Like, drinking for 4 days straight with vodka with no eating is basically you're drinking to kill yourself.
Yeah, that's
is
crazy.
what I would say. So I do a stent. I do my 3 mandatory days, basically, is what a detox is at the hospital. Like, the Ativan wasn't even working this time. Like, it was the roughest time. None of these times get better. Like, each time that I did relapse, it was only those 4 days or whatever, but I would just drink long enough to where the ambulance would literally have to come pick me up off the ground. Like just full, complete paralyzation of oneself. And yeah, like, I knew the ambulance driver and the paramedics last time.
Yep.
It was a guy that I had trained with in jiu-jitsu, and then when I looked up and saw him, like, it was kind of funny, like, his head was over, like, the light, so it kind of did look like God, but I was just like, I'm glad you're here,
Yeah.
But that last time I came out of that, being able to get off of the VA drugs, like the head med drugs, the Cymbalta, the duloxetine, all of that. So that is what finally qualified me to be able to even look into one of these veteran, a medicine style attack at this thing. And that's when I found the Mission Within.
I've heard great things about it.
Yes, that, I mean, brother, that's truly why you and I are here, That's where I did all of those years of me going to, different rehabs and doing all those things was kind of like if you were to picture a big hotel, and I was going around unlocking all the locks and going on this journey and this retreat allowed me to go in each one of those rooms in a sense and like handle business. And I was able to go all the way back to that 4-year-old kid, grab that red button and pop that baby. And it just all I was able to process finally all of that back, like, all this had been processed, but that last chunk finally broke free.
Nice. So let me ask you this. What is life like today? What are you doing today? Who you working with? What's life like?
Today, it's just like, I was so proud to be walking with God. I could have never seen this person, and it just makes sense, man, because look at the recruiting campaign that the devil has out here in this world, man. It is big.
Oh,
But
yeah.
once you play for God's team and for the right reasons, and to truly just be the best human that you can be every day, because, like, why not? Like, all of those people that I carry around on my arm that I lost, that, like, there's a lot of folks that took their own life here on our own soil, like my friends, like my best friends, my childhood best friend, you know.
It's too much.
It's so like when I do get to see them again, like when they ask me like, so dude, like what you get to do, man? What you get to do down there for that 40 years or 50 years? Like, oh man, I got to train Max and do dog stuff, and I got to run these things and run these marathons eventually. Like I got to work with this dude Taylor Kavanaugh, and like, it just, I want, there's always going to be hate, right? But just for a glimpse, I want somebody to say, you know what, that dude did change the mold. He did do, like essentially I'm doing what my dad never could do, never would do, and never chose to do, is the work. Because when it came down to it, at the end of the day, if you were to line us up together at one point, we were identical, and those are all the things that I didn't want to be. Like alone, isolated, done pushed everybody away, stayed in my arrogance and ego-ness, changing the mold.
Yeah, it's huge, bro. Hey, you
I
break
guess
that
the
generational trauma.
best way to pay it forward. And now, getting started with launching GreyRunner and official, and truly reaching out and trying to help other veterans, especially, and frankly, anybody that's struggling to find that there's different trails to attack this, different ways to go about this. Not everything works for everybody, and vice versa. But I sure wish I would have had a lot better of guidance or help, even on what rehab to go to, or shoot, like any even advice on how to try to quit drinking in a healthy way, other than like, what I got is like, why don't you just stop drinking? It's like,
Yeah.
you're not connecting with.
Yeah, exactly. No, I hadn't thought about that myself. Appreciate it. Someone close to me was talking to a therapist recently about some serious trauma in the past, and they're like, you just need to forget about it. And they're like, that's what the fuck I'm trying to do with your help. I can't do it on my own, which is why I'm here to begin with. I couldn't believe it came out of a therapist's mouth. But what is GreyRunner actually?
So GreyRunner official is you can check us out on Instagram. We just launched, and it's a coaching / mentoring program. We're just truly trying to make the best human out of you. If you've already got a program, great. Like I'll give you a critical third eye on it and some suggestions how we should shift things, or different ways to approach whatever goals it is that you have when it comes to mind, body, and spirit. Because like there's plenty of just, get ripped at the gym, but like, yes, that is a thing, and that's great, right, for those folks. But like, I'll show you how to go through, like if I need to go through page by page with the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous with you and like introduce you to that, I will. That's what we'll do. Like we're here to show you that there's other ways outside of the box to find sobriety and a recovery that means something, versus the soberness that is, spiteful, hateful, and all of that, because you're not truly living yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't like I found this over a week of experience. You're talking decades of gathering this intel, because plenty of people can have fancy things hanging on the wall, with certificates, and that is cool, but like I can still obtain all of those and get plenty of those, but however, you cannot get what I have with experience and learn through and push through, struggles.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. That's what attracted me to Taylor. Listen, I could have gone to like a proper certified, guy with a master's degree. That's sitting behind a
Absolutely.
desk,
I
but
mean, there's
no,
levels.
that wasn't my guy.
There's levels to all of this, as you know. And it's like,
Hell
if you
yeah.
don't have a program, like, let's start small. Like, let's start real small with just getting a couple things every day consistent for a while. Getting into a groove.
Yeah, it's a little things
Because
and add
trust
up to
me,
big stuff.
like, I was always the guy too. Like, oh, if I had a gym at home, I would work out more. Or oh, if I had a personal trainer, it's like Cameron Haynes said it the best. He's like, no, you wouldn't, bitch. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Like,
my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
I
It's a big
catch
word.
myself, dude. I catch myself on the daily. I'll slip on a workout or I'll slip on this, and it's like, see, Wes, like, and I just use those now and grab them, and I'm like, okay, like, now we're doing that,
Yeah. It's funny, man. I'll push off training every now and then. I mean, I've done it since I'm 18. I'll be 58 this year. So 40 years. And only in 2012, after I got a rehab, did it all finally click and change for me where I love it. Like, it's my hour and a half of meditation every day. I need it. I never blow up workouts. I'm recovering from a torn tricep right now. So it's the only reason I've been out. I've been out for spinal fusion, 2 back surgeries, and this. That's over the past 13 and a half years. It's the only time I've missed. Like, I love it. I need it. There's never an excuse. I never miss it. It's just part of my life. And, same way I look at food. I look at it as it's either building muscle or it's building fat. There's no in between. What's this going to do for me? And essentially everything you do in life should be your decision. What's this going to do for me or to me? And then you make your decision based off of that.
Like, just to add to that, I guess it's like I feel pretty proud of myself that, going into my 40th birthday here in June, like, to be, to have the best 6-pack that I've ever had, to have the body that I have, and know that, like, I'm going to be celebrating my birthday, like, doing probably a pretty big climb or a hike, like, not even remotely spent doing the birthdays that I used to, like,
stupid
wait,
shit. Yep.
And how many people that are 40 can say that nowadays,
Yeah,
exactly. That you see walk around.
Well, it's a life of value and purpose, and it's totally different from what you led before. Me in many respects as well. So it's beautiful to see. But brother, unfortunately, I have time restraints. We're an hour and a half into it, man. I had no idea
Awesome.
it's been that long. So it's been fantastic talking to you. Yeah, it really does, man. Which is why I love the podcast. You look up at the clock, you're like, "Holy shit, it's been that long." Tell everyone all the links will be in the bio, but tell everyone if they want to get in touch with you how to do so, and hopefully to reach out.
Yeah, just on either Sharp Actual or GreyRunner Official.
Okay, so Sharp Actual's Insta.
Yes, sir. Both are.
With an E, Sharp.
Yes, sir.
All right, beautiful. Wes, it's been fantastic speaking to you. Guys, I hope you like what you saw. If you do, please hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Out here.
Or shot fire, officer down, shot fire, officer down. Got a city officer down, shot fire.
223, be advised, we have a visual on enemy paratroopers at grid Papa uniforms.
Welcome to the Resilient Warrior Nation, a podcast dedicated to inspiring hope and healing for first responders, military veterans, and anyone facing PTSD and trauma